All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to talk about what is, without a doubt, the single most powerful tool in your Python toolbox, functions. Seriously, if you want to go from just writing little scripts to building actual, impressive applications, this is the concept you have to master.
Okay, be honest with me for a second. Have you ever been coding and you find yourself just copying and pasting the same chunk of code over and over and over again? It feels clunky, right? It's a total nightmare to update, and you just get this little voice in the back of your head saying, there has to be a better way.
Well, that voice is absolutely right. In the professional coding world, we have a name for this. It's a core principle called dry. Don't repeat yourself. Think of it like a warning sign. The moment you start repeating code, it's a signal that there's a smarter, cleaner way to get the job done. And your go-to weapon for following the dry principle? Yep, it's the function.
So here's the game plan. We're going to start with that exact problem, the pain of repetition. Then we'll introduce functions as your reusable toolkit. After that, we'll see how to pass information in and out of them, how to organize them into modules, and finally, we'll get a little peek at all the cool stuff you can do next. Let's do this.
Okay, so let's properly introduce the hero of our story, the function. This is your elegant solution. This is what takes that messy, repetitive code and transforms it into something that's clean, organized, and way, way more powerful. So what is a function really? Well, it's just a named block of code that does one specific thing. The best analogy is a recipe. You write down the steps to bake cookies just once, you give that recipe a name, and from then on, anytime you want cookies, you just say, hey, run the bake_cookies recipe. You don't have to rewrite the instructions every single time.
And building one is super straightforward. You start with the keyword def. That just tells Python, hey, I'm making a function. Then you give it a good, descriptive name followed by parentheses. You end that line with a colon, super important, don't forget it. And then everything that belongs to that function is indented right underneath. That indentation is how Python knows, okay, all this stuff is part of that one recipe.
Now, functions basically come in two main flavors. On one hand, you have functions that just do something. They print a message, they save a file, whatever. They perform their task, and that's it. On the other hand, and this is where it gets really powerful, you have value-returning functions. These guys do a job, but then they send a result back to you, a piece of data you can catch and use for something else. So what's the big payoff here? Well, it's huge. Your code instantly becomes clearer because now you have a name for a complex action. It gets way simpler because you've gotten rid of all that copy-pasting. And debugging? Oh, it's 1,000 times easier. Instead of trying to find a bug in a 500-line script, you can just test one tiny function at a time. And of course, you get to write that code once and use it everywhere. Okay, this is where things get really interesting. Static recipes are great, but what if you want to bake chocolate chip cookies one day and oatmeal raisin the next? We need to make our functions flexible, and we do that by passing information in and getting results back out. All right, let's clear something up that trips up so many people. The difference between an argument and a parameter. It's actually really simple. The argument is the actual real-life value you send into the function, like the number 5 or the word hello. The parameter is just the empty box, the variable inside the function that's waiting to catch that value. So the argument is the egg you're holding. The parameter is just the spot in the recipe that says, add egg here.
And you're not limited to just one piece of information. You can send in as many arguments as you need. The key thing to remember, though, is that Python matches them up by their position. The first argument you send goes to the first parameter. The second goes to the second, and so on. Order definitely matters.
This brings us to a really, really important question. Why should you use the return keyword instead of just using print inside your function? I mean, they both seem to show you a result, right? But believe me, there is a world of difference between them, and understanding it is key. And look at this. It perfectly shows you why this is so important. On the left, with print, sure, we see the number 5 on the screen, but when we try to save that output to a variable called result, we get nothing. The value is just gone. But on the right, with return, the function doesn't just display the 5, it hands it back to us. We can actually catch it in that result variable and use it for our next calculation. Return gives you a usable product. Print just shows you something and throws it away. So, once you've written a few really good recipes, you're not going to just leave them scattered on little bits of paper, right? No, you're going to put them together into a cookbook. In Python, our cookbook is called a module. Now, don't let the word module scare you. It's ridiculously simple. A module is just a regular Python file, any file that ends in .py, where you've saved a bunch of your functions. That's it. Then, in any other program you write, you can just import that file and instantly get access to that whole collection of tools you built.
And the payoff here? It's exactly like the benefits of functions, just on a massive scale. You get reusability across dozens of different projects. You get organization, keeping all your math-related tools in one file and your text-related tools in another. And this is huge. If you find a bug, you fix it in that one module file, and every single program that uses it is instantly fixed. That is a game changer.
All right, so you've got the basics down. You know how to build functions, how to get data in and out, how to organize them. So where do we go from here? Well, this is where you start to see what Python can really do. Understanding functions basically gives you a whole new set of superpowers. Suddenly, you can tap into this huge universe of Python libraries, which are just modules someone else wrote. You can start handling errors without crashing your program. You can build clever validation loops. And most importantly, you start thinking like a real programmer, building big, complex things out of small, simple, and reusable parts. I mean, think about something like the math library. It comes built in with Python. You don't have to figure out the complex algorithm for finding a square root. You just import math, call the sqrt function, and bam, you're done. Someone else already did the hard work and packaged it up for you. Or, hey, what about the random library? This one's just plain fun. Want to build a game and need a dice roll? Just call the randin function. Need to randomly pick a winner from a list of names? The choice function has you covered. These are all just pre-built tools waiting for you. Functions are also your secret weapon for making your programs, well, not break all the time. You can build a function that asks a user for a number, for example, and wrap that whole process in what's called a try/except block. That way, if the user types in hello instead of 123, your program doesn't crash, it catches the error and handles it gracefully. It's how you build stuff that actually works in the real world. So look how far we've come. We started with that frustrating feeling of copying and pasting, and now we're here, talking about building robust applications from small, powerful, reusable parts. You've got the single most important building block in all of Python under your belt, so the only real question left is, what reusable tools are you going to build first?